Thank you for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Sarah Horbacewicz. Today, North Little Rock police are investigating a homicide from early this morning. Here's what we know right now. Police responded to gunshot calls near the O'Reilly Auto Parts store on Camp Robinson Road at around 2 a.m. At the scene, officers found a car with its hazards on. They found a man with a gunshot wound, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. We are still waiting for information on the victim and any suspects. Now, just into the newsroom, a burned truck and a body have been found near Stuttgart. That's according to the Arkansas County Sheriff's Office. The truck was found on Thursday, just 2 days after it was reported stolen out of Almara. The body has been sent to the state crime lab to be identified. This is an ongoing investigation. The search for a missing Jefferson County woman, Miranda Neal, was called off yesterday. This comes just 1 day after crews had restarted their search. The sheriff's office says search crews have found human remains they believe could be her. The remains were spotted about half a mile southeast of President Circle in Pine Bluff. That's southeast of Highway 79. Clothes were also found deep in the woods. Neal was last seen on an ATV in the Dyson Road and President Circle area and was reported missing last May. Those remains have been sent to the crime lab to confirm their identity. Right now, police in Allen, Texas are responding to an active shooter incident at the Allen Premium Outlets. Our Dallas station says there are multiple victims, including children, and that the shooter is dead at the scene. We are still working to find details as they come out, but we will continue to update you with the latest online and tonight here at 10.
Well, only a few days into the month of May, and it's already feeling like summer for us today. We've been seeing a very warm afternoon and humid on top of that. Matter of fact, we saw our first 90-degree high day of the season here in Little Rock. Other locations also reach 90 degrees, like in DeQueen, Texarkana, Camden, El Dorado. Otherwise, statewide mid to upper 80s this afternoon. Still very warm out there, but when you factor in the humidity, it feels much hotter. It feels like it's 94 degrees as of this evening here in Little Rock. Feels like it's 96 in Arkadelphia. And of course, we're going to continue to stay warm and muggy tonight. We're continuing the festivities for Toad Suck Days in Conway. Expect the evening to continue to stay mainly in the 80s. We should drop in the 70s later tonight with increasing cloud cover. Otherwise, quiet weather in store for us, but we are going to be seeing an active pattern into next week, along with these above average temperatures expected to stick around. So I'll be focusing on that in your forecast coming up.
Well, the road to rebuilding after we saw a tornado in March continues here in central Arkansas. So much progress is being made, but of course it's not done yet. As communities try to get back to normal, many disaster relief groups are cutting back their time in the state. But as Frederick Price shows us tonight, one international organization says they'll be here a little while longer.
Initially, after the storm, the area was devastated.
During the time since March 31st, groups like the Samaritans have helped neighborhoods clean up and get back to some sense of normalcy.
To help with chainsaw work, tarping roofs, mud outs, and then salvaging personal belongings.
About 600 volunteers have been in the state since the tornado hit, helping at least 300 families. Rachel Miller with Samaritans Purse and a handful of volunteers were outside one home in the Reservoir community Saturday, cleaning up debris.
It helps not only with the physical cleanup, but also the emotional turmoil that people go through.
Well, Saturday was their original last day in Arkansas, but they're extending their stay for the next 2 weeks because Rachel tells me they're not done until everyone who has asked for assistance has received it.
Yes.
It's clear there is so much work that needs to be done.
Still, as you drive around, you see so much devastation.
But because communities like this still need help moving forward, it's a big part of why Rachel says the group is deciding to stay in Arkansas a little longer.
I love being able to come alongside people when they've experienced a disaster in order to provide physical care.
In Little Rock, Frederick Price, THV 11 News.
To be in the state until at least May 20th. And Rachel tells us the Samaritan's Purse is always in need of more volunteers. We'll post more information on how you can apply at thv11.com. Meanwhile, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders has requested a 30-day extension for federal relief aid for tornado relief cleanup efforts. President Biden already approved using federal funds to cover 100% of federal aid for the first 30 days after the storm. Sanders said the extension would help support the long road ahead for cleanup in Pulaski, Lonoke, and Cross counties. DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas toured the border yesterday, getting a first-hand look at how officials are preparing for the end of Title 42. The order is set to expire next week, and it allowed the government to deny entry to America based on public health concerns. 1,500 soldiers and Marines will be on hand to assist. This comes with large numbers of people hoping for asylum and moving towards the southern border in anticipation of the policy change. But they still face the possibility of being turned away.
In a post-Title 42 environment, we will be using our expedited removal authorities under Title 8 of the United States Code. That allows us to remove individuals very quickly.
Lawmakers are working on a bill that would mimic Title 42, allowing the government to expel migrants, but it wouldn't be tied to the COVID pandemic. Republican Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina and Arizona Independent Senator Kyrsten Sinema are co-sponsoring the bill. Meanwhile, celebrations are underway in Britain after the historic crowning of King Charles earlier today. As Tina Kraus reports from London, the coronation was filled with spectacle, ancient rituals, music, prayer, and plenty of pomp.
It's the crowning moment King Charles III has waited his entire life for. Charles sat on the 700-year-old oak coronation chair in Westminster Abbey as the dazzling St. Edward's crown was placed on his head.
God save the King!
God save the King! I come not to be served, but to serve.
The King completed his 7-decade journey from heir to monarch in his grandest coronation carriage, the Gold State Coach. It rolled through the heart of London on a rainy Saturday, giving delighted crowds a glimpse of history in the making.
To be singing God Save the King is really incredible.
King Charles wasn't the only one crowned at the 2-hour coronation here at Westminster Abbey. His wife Camilla is now queen.
May thy servant Camilla, who wears this crown, be filled by thine abundant grace and with all princely virtues.
King Charles's coronation was filled with ritual, embracing ancient tradition.
Receive the royal scepter, the ensign of kingly power and justice.
The king was just 4 years old when he watched his mother, Queen Elizabeth's coronation in 1953. Saturday, his own children celebrated his, including heir to the throne Prince William and his brother Harry. The younger prince headed back to the U.S. after the ceremony. Later, as Royal Air Force jets flew past, the new king and queen waved from the balcony of Buckingham Palace. For Charles and Camilla, the historic event is the culmination of a controversial love story spanning 5 decades. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
The coronation festivities include a concert Sunday at Windsor Castle featuring music legend Lionel Richie and Katy Perry.